I think self-awareness is very important. So when you get to know yourself, understand the strengths that come with your personality, understand some of the weaknesses or some of the downside, you'll be a lot more at peace within yourself, and you'll be a lot more confident.
Honestly, I totally agree. But I would say as well that for some people, it's better that they are not self-aware, because if they really see themselves the way other people see themselves, they will jump into a river. I'm always very eager to learn. And I feel like I don't know anything. I feel like there is, even the belief I have today, if I gain certain knowledge, it may change. I'm always eager to learn. Ignorance, I think, I can't remember where exactly I heard this, but I think it's a thing in law. But ignorance is not an excuse for, not obeying a law. I used to be called, what's that word when we're in school? ITK, I too know. I used to be called ITK. I used to be those people. You know how?
Welcome to In Between Spaces. Today we have the pleasure of hosting the incredible Ewalola Sabowale on our podcast. As an expert in product strategy, she seamlessly navigates the intersection of business, users, and innovators. Every product that passes her scrutiny is not just evaluated, it's crafted to solve problems and enhance user experience. She's also a mom of two, really cute boys if I may add, and she's married. I think another really interesting part for me is her podcast. It's called The Spotlight. It discusses topics around product strategy and research. So, ladies and gentlemen, listeners of this podcast, join me as we welcome Ewalola. Thank you, Ewalola, for coming on this podcast.
Hi, Bless. Thank you so much for having me. Is it me that you're describing as incredible? I'm wondering if there's somebody else in the room.
You know how I feel. Talk about I know you are a star.
God, why is it not reflecting in my account balance? Oh, Jesus.
Very soon. Please be patient.
It's the economy.
It's Nigeria.
I'll tell you. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on podcast.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming. So there is the areas of your life I would like to shine the spotlight on. There are a lot, but let's talk about your professional backing. Let's start from there. Because if we are being honest, you are good. Even you said you know it. So how did you start? When did you start your career?
Hey, my career in general, right? Okay. I guess this goes back to 2012. I just graduated from uni. I studied law at the University of Nottingham. A little bit against my will, if I will be very honest. If you had asked me at that time, I would have said, I want to be a doctor. I want to be saving lives. What's the name of that show? What's the name of that show? That's still going on. I can't remember now. Grey's Anatomy, yeah. So I in my mind, I would have been in Grey's Anatomy. I would have been them in Grey's Anatomy or House or something. I really loved watching shows like that. So yeah, I had always wanted to be a doctor growing up. But at the time when it came to select what I was studying in school, so I had done well in both sciences and social sciences, in secondary school.
Smart, but what I'm saying.
No, so the thing is, I used to study. I don't think I'm naturally brilliant. You know, there's some people that whether they study whether they don't study, you want to just explain something to them once like this. So that's not me. I used to study a lot. So yeah. So I think that was just one thing that made me feel comfortable enough to say, okay, yes, I can go ahead and study law, even though I couldn't, follow my dream of studying medicine. So graduated from my bachelor's in 2012, went to law school, Abuja and Lagos 1 year. That was interesting, Sha. That was my first time living outside of Lagos, ever. So it was really interesting. Abuja life is soft though. People living there, I enjoy it.
Yeah, rich people, soft life.
As in, real soft life. They are the real soft life people in Nigeria. So I did NYSC, and then during my NYSC, I was serving in my dad's law firm. My dad is a lawyer, he's a senior advocate. So I guess that's where my career started. And from there, in 2016, I got married and had my first son, September of 2016. But that was we were outside of the country for a while. He has Down syndrome, so he was diagnosed with it like a few weeks after his birth. So we were in hospital for a long time. He has a congenital heart defect as well. So he had 2 surgeries, the long stay in the hospital. Anyway, long story short, I didn't get to work for like almost 2 years, I believe. So I started working when I got back to work when he was a year old. So I believe that was like 2018. And yeah, I think I started working then. I hope I'm not going on and on. Like, do you really want me to give you your details?
No, please. I'm writing it down. I didn't even know a lot of these things.
Okay, so the first job I got on my own was with an insurance firm called Suno Assurances. It was as what do they call the role then? A senior executive or something like that. But basically, I was managing about 5 or 6 people who were like account executives, yes, within our region in Yaba. And our job was basically to get customers. It was a sales role, really. And yeah, for me, one thing that was really interesting, even though that wasn't aligned with what I had studied or anything, but it was the first time I was getting to experience people like in real life. And I don't know if that sounds weird, like trying to understand what would make
customers or users.
Yes, you get first time interacting with people and trying to get them to do something. So for me, I think it was really valuable that first experience wasn't behind the computer screen, but like actually experiencing people in real life, the people that that now I'm working to build or develop solutions for. So it was really interesting, really getting to understand that people get to make decisions based on a huge variety of reasons. The way people think is different from the way person A thinks is totally different from the way person B thinks. I have to be fast on your feet to respond to their queries and things like that. So it was just really interesting. My next role was at Fidelity Bank. It was called sorry? It was a contract role in a bank. It was a contract role. The role was initially called service ambassadors, but basically, we were within the customer experience team, and at the time, Fidelity Bank had just they were trying to really drive their digital banking solutions, so mobile banking, online banking, and USSD. And I think their product team was outsourced, so they weren't developing these things themselves. So they needed a lot of feedback that would be passed on to the developers and the product people, right? So that was my job basically. Interacting with customers, getting them to use the app. So a lot of people, for instance, they may have downloaded it, but they had 1 or 2 issues, got stuck, stopped using it, and they're walking into the bank to do transactions that they can do on their phone. So my job is to understand the problems, understand why they are not using the app, what challenges they face, troubleshoot. If you can sort it out on the ground there, sort it out, but also still give that feedback to the product team so they know, for instance, in a week, let's say I spoke with 1,000 customers, 500 had issues, maybe they were locked out. So giving that feedback that would help to improve the product. So I did that for over a year, I think almost 2 years, and then COVID came, and then coincidentally as well, I also I was pregnant towards the tail end of my role there. That thing wasn't funny. My pregnancies are not funny. I'm one of those spitters. I'm always very, very nauseous. I'll be carrying containers and spitting. Imagine working in a bank, customers are talking to you and you're spitting.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! It was not
away from you be feeling a certain way, away from even what the customer will think, you be feeling weird about yourself a bit.
But when I'm pregnant, I feel weird. I don't feel normal. That's why the thought of even getting pregnant again is just shoot me. Cuckoo shoot me. Like I don't feel myself when I'm pregnant. So and then smells will be very amplified.
Yeah.
God. Imagine talking to a customer that maybe has slight body odor. It might not be so bad. Maybe other people are not experiencing it. Me, it's like I'm dying. It wasn't fun.
I was like angry too. Some of them.
Yes. The customer is angry probably. But I'm sure I couldn't even keep my face straight. It was a very interesting scenario, Sha. Very interesting. But still, though, during that time, I really, really learned a lot. Like I said, the fact that I got to interact with these people one-on-one and see the way that they think, like I'm literally they're holding their phone. I'm pressed very close to them. They're explaining the challenges they were facing to me. And I'm taking notes. And like at that point, I can't take notes, but like I'm taking mental notes. I'm trying to understand, and probably sometimes I would use my phone and like record the interaction so that when I'm communicating to the product or developers, they're able to see that, oh, okay, this is what you mean. This is what the customer doesn't like. Yes, sometimes even recording what the customer is saying so that you can experience it firsthand, right? So it was really interesting. It was really, really interesting. That was my first exposure to like research around user experience or customer experience. Yes. So I think it was a great start. I know not everybody gets to have that experience. Like having when the customer is explaining the issues they're having, I'm already thinking, how can we solve this issue? If I'm seeing that, okay, 100 people in a week face this issue, then this is a critical issue that we need to solve. Very interesting stuff. But anyway, COVID came around and I was pregnant. Funny things happened around that COVID period. We were on lockdown. And then, I don't know if you remember, but if a hospital gets exposed to COVID, they will now close down. I don't know do you remember that period?
Yeah,
so imagine... So imagine the hospital I was doing my antenatal and I had registered to like give birth closed down. And I was very close to delivery. I said, what want you to do? My dear, that's how we were now paying up and now looking for another hospital that was, So the thing, like when you're pregnant, you don't trust them. Even when you're not pregnant, you know every hospital you see that you trust now. We needed, at least let me know one or two people that have used the hospital possibly giving birth. So anyway, eventually found another place. But anyway, I had my son. And then after the lockdown was called off, we were working remotely. So yeah, at first we did that for a few months. I can't remember exactly how long. Then we were called into the office. My dear, I had caught COVID during the lockdown, during the pandemic, like the heat of the pandemic. I had caught COVID. It was a terrible experience for me. Horrible experience. I thought I was going to die. In fact, I never knew I could survive. No, I couldn't breathe. Like, you will be you will be trying to pull in air. Your lungs are not taking air.
It's like they are blocked.
It feels like you just can't breathe. People that have that deal with respiratory issues or asthma or anything like that, I could understand. That was when I gained empathy for them. It was not funny at all. So anyway, by the time the lockdown was called off, and they now said we should come into, and then the remote work was called off, and they said we should come into the office. Yep. Hey, I started thinking, I said, if I catch this COVID again, I will not just die immediately. So I had to think long and hard about it. Basically, eventually, I decided to just resign because I didn't want to be exposed. So in the role I was doing, I would be exposed to so many people. I would be touching their phones. Yeah. And I had a small baby. And I was like, please, let me just rethink this whole thing.
Away from you, thinking about the baby too, because children, they are very vulnerable. They are vulnerable to a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And when, I also thought back to the fact that when one of the first few cases of COVID in Nigeria was traced back to a banking hall. And I won't say the name of the bank so that it won't be but it's because in the banks, they interact with money. Almost everybody touches money. Do you get
money that you don't know where it's coming from?
Exactly. So I just thought about it. I was like, please, I beg, it's not worth my life. So I resigned. And during that time, I So I don't know how I found out about the course, but you know Utiva, it's the EdTech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I did their course, their product design course. I really liked it. It was just a short course. I think, was it up to 3 months? I don't think so. But anyway, it was a really great start, going from that like pseudo research to design, and then understanding how those skills I had gained from interacting with like customers translate to digital design and interactions. Yeah, so
Yes. More
yeah.
like the feedback you are giving from the other role, you are coming to see how it is being implemented.
Exactly. So I could understand from the perspective of, yes, I'm a researcher, I'm a person who's getting feedback from people, but then also understanding the trade-offs you have to make in creating designs, understanding how you experiences are even designed, you get, and how you have to work with other stakeholders to like bring these things to life. So that course was really great. I think the things that made that course really great was the tutors. One of them is called Toby. What's his surname? I can't remember, but
nice.
Yeah, because sometimes I still interact with him. He was, and he's like all those people that are very intentional about like providing mentorship. And even though he probably wouldn't call it mentorship, but like he'll give you feedback, advice, and things like that. Till now, I know that's something he's passionate about. Toby Amodu, I have his phone number. He even gave out his phone number. I was like, this guy is like, I try, So he's always sorry.
He wants to see you grow in design. You must learn this.
I think he was. No. I honestly didn't expect him to be that hands-on. He was really great. The other tutor was called Timi Adubi. He was really good with like the interface design. And I think Toby is great at interface design, but like the entire experience of a product Toby was great at that. So it was a good learning experience. After that, I also did the Utiva product management course. I did that mainly because I wanted to understand the other side of the coin. Like, okay, yes, designers are doing this, but the product managers understand the business. They understand, why certain decisions have to be made, or like why certain trade-offs have to be made, or what the business is trying to achieve, what the roadmap looks like. So I wanted to get that full understanding. Yes, I did that as well. It wasn't as good as the design course. It was more theoretical, but it was okay. And then Utiva, after the design course, Utiva gave a free internship with a VC firm. What's the name now? Oh God, my memory. My memory is bad, but yeah, there was a free 3-month internship where we actually got to work on products for the portfolio. The VC firms, their portfolio companies, we worked on a couple of products for them. So I got to actually experience, designing within a team. Do you get? Yeah. So it was really great. I feel like I'm going on and on. Let me go as fast as possible.
Please, sorry, before you continue, I just want to say a big shout out to Utiva. I know about PZs and the amazing things they are doing, but this feedback for Utiva, it is so good.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it was really, really good. It was really good. The internship especially, and of course before you could get the internship, you had to prove that you were performing. So, yes, exactly. And I think there was a test or something, because I'm sure they will figure that some people will actually be as committed, do you get, and then you now go out of your way to give them an internship and then they're not committed. But the internship was really great. Exactly. It was really great. After that, what did I do after that? I got the role at Transion. Transion were looking for a researcher to help with their mobile technology. The team I specifically worked on was working on camera technology for Techno, Camon devices, Infinix devices, even some other ones within the Techno Infinix range anyway. So that was really great experience for me. There was a lot of market research involved. There was a lot of user testing as well. A lot. Oh my God. At a point. So within the testing, we have to camera technology is very tricky. You need to feed the machine learning tool with a lot of data, of pictures and how people look. So if you look at the cameras in like China, the preferences that people have for camera technology in China is totally different from the preferences that people have for camera technology in Nigeria. How do I say this? Especially in terms of like at the time, Snapchat was a really, really big thing. So Snapchat has filters, and filters were, like the next big thing. If you remember, Instagram didn't used to have filters until probably after Snapchat. Do you get? So
those like 2022 or so.
Yes. And then those phones, we were trying to also build that technology for them. So you could actually have those filters within the phone. So now, this is not a slur. I'm not trying to like be racist or anything, but Chinese people have their own definition of beauty. Black people have their own definition of beauty. I'll give an example. If we're going to use sunscreen now, Chinese people or white people, they don't know whether the sunscreen appears white on their face.
Yeah, because you're already fair.
Exactly. If a black person uses that kind of sunscreen. Exactly. So that's just like a very exactly. So imagine if, for instance, that's white, like imagine taking a picture with like Chinese beauty standards, and then you, instead of looking glowy and like your skin is rich, melanin popping, you're now looking grey because there's white filter on your face. So yeah, fun moment. I really enjoyed working on that team. Learned a lot about not just now like the hardware aspect of actually developing products. It was really, really interesting. Got to do a lot of hands-on work, a lot of field work, market research. It was really great. After that, took the role at InterSwitch in the product and user research. That was a transformative experience, I would say. Learned a whole lot. Especially in terms of working with people, stakeholder management, like all those skills that you don't actually realize. So yeah, you can be great, fantastic, tremendous at the hard skills, but if your soft skills are lacking, my dear, not sure how far you will go. Yeah.
And I love how intentional the team at InterSwitch is about soft skill. Like there are even sessions where we talk about this session where it was Chinelo that talked. Okay, Chinelo talked about brand.
Yes, about the brand, your personal brand.
Yeah, soft skill, hard skill, because if not, you are going to be fighting with people every day in products.
Honestly.
A cross-functional team that is very big, where they're like a whole lot of you are collaborating with not just designers and developers. They are researchers, they are DevOps, they are stakeholders, they are internal stakeholders and they are external stakeholders. You just need to know how to talk. You just need to know how to react. You just need to know how to compose your message. That I hope this mail meets you well. You better meet them well.
I'll tell you. Yeah. So one thing about the role at InterSwitch, it really helped me understand how organizations make decisions and how my role as a researcher could really empower teams to do that. For me, it was a great learning experience. I was there for 1.5+ years. Currently now, I'm at Money Point. I've been here for just a week now. We're doing customer experience research. So far, it's looking good. One of the things I really want to improve on this year is data analytics, and I think that's something that this role would help me build up on. Yeah. So that's my career story so far. I hope I didn't go on for too long.
Please, I think we all needed to hear it. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, I feel like all the experience you've had, this stuff, they say all the dots get to connect over time. I feel like the experiences you've had, one way or the other, have helped connect the dots.
Exactly. I didn't know that thing you just said. What you just said is a saying that keeps going through my mind. Oh, there is a lag. Sorry, Bless. Please go ahead.
No, please go on. I'm listening.
Okay, what you just said is a saying that always it's been going through my mind for the past 1 year. Like, you never know why you're making, you don't know 100% how certain decisions you make today will turn out. It's only in hindsight that you now understand that, oh, this is how this helped me do this, how the opportunity plus the, what they call it, opportunity plus preparation meets opportunity meets preparation, and how, and then it's not just necessarily luck. Exactly, it's not just necessarily luck. If you're prepared and then an opportunity comes along, then you'll be successful. If you take the opportunity, right? So it's been really interesting, Sha.
I didn't even know you had background in law. So when I think about how outspoken you are, I never thought there was a law background in there. You state her mood. Like she will state what she believes should work. And then you will ask yourself, where is that level of confidence and backing? Even in this speech, you can hear it. You get? Most times I look at it, I didn't know, like you can imagine your experience from law to, I don't want to even ask the part of how your dad must have felt, because first you had to leave law after studying, but then after studying, doing your NYSC, going to law school, I can't imagine how that conversation must have gone. But then to getting your first job in an insurance company, you get having to manage people at that stage in your career, and then going down to even fidelity and your interaction with users, like dot by dot by dot, it gets to connect.
As so no matter what, it must connect actually.
So no matter what anyone is doing at the moment, I feel if you are, one thing I also want to add is, as you talk about your career journey, I'm seeing a pivotal, I'm seeing a lane of diligence. Even when you were pregnant, you were having those interactions with people at Fidelity Bank. And then when you studied your UTBA, you didn't just take product design course. You went from product design, you wanted to understand product managers. I feel like there is something that can be learned from your story, is the art of, I'm trying to remember the word. You like to do things well when you start them. You like to understand from different perspectives. You don't just jump in. I remember I've seen you most times where you ask questions down to so why do you want to conduct this research? What are your objectives? I was listening on one of the conversations and someone said, but that's for you to figure out why. You said, no, I think I need to understand why you want to do this. So the fact that you get, you are very detailed. That's the word. That's the word I've been looking for.
I'm listening to you. I don't think it's me I describe you. You first said diligent. You said, now you're saying detailed. I better go.
Have you seen you? I think sometimes place mirror in front of people so they will look at their lives from the mirror. Because it's detail is the perfect word. You want to get to the end to end before jumping in. And I think that's what a lot of product people, let's not talk about the general user, but I feel that's what some product people or even some businesses don't understand at this point. You have an idea and then you want to just jump in and execute. Look at the pros, look at the cons, look at it from the different angles. Try to understand it from every user. Think of possible issues, possible
edge
problems that help. Exactly, that's the word.
Yeah, so what you're saying, as I reflect, actually, I think I understand what you're saying. When you said I'm outspoken, I'm like, are you sure you're talking about me? But I guess I can come up that way. But inside my heart, I'm shy. Inside my heart, I'm shy. What tends to happen is I will say something, and I'm all those people that in the middle of the night when I want to sleep, I'll not be thinking, come, why did you say that thing? You do this. I'll not be thinking that, God, maybe you would have just kept quiet. So I know that in this life I've stepped on a lot of toes. I know that. But I would say that it's all about the approach anyway. Yes, I like to ask questions. And do you know the funny thing? I'm thinking of a time growing up where I used to be very, 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 very shy as a child. Even till now, I know I'm shy in my heart, but as a child, I used to be very shy. It used to be so bad that I remember that my dad sent me out to a store. Like we were on summer holiday and we had traveled, and I can't remember the exact place. Probably like a Tesco or something. I don't know. So he asked me to get something. I couldn't find it. I was now just going around the store. After a while, I found what he wanted, and then I bought it and went home. He was now asking me that, Madam, what took you so long? I was not explaining to him that, I was looking. He now said, why didn't you just ask? So, so that's something that I think has kind of shaped me to where I am today. I even over-ask. And I'm very sure some people get annoyed, but I over-ask. And I think the skills I learned, I also think that the skills I learned in studying law is that you need to ask questions. You can't just make conclusions. You can't, for instance, our assumption. For instance, if we're giving like a problem, like in legal like exams or case or coursework, you'll be given like a problem and you need to like think about it, like a story. They'll tell you a story and you need to think about it. For you to understand the, in quote, correct answer to that story, you need to dig deeper. You need to ask questions. You need to also, maybe, of course, you don't have the full story, assume some things, set out the assumptions, say these are the things I'm assuming. These are the things I've understood based on the question, the problem that has been shaped here. These are the questions that I still have to be able to answer this question, this problem deeply. So I don't know. I think it's like you said, the dots connect in hindsight, right? So I think it's just a blend of all the experiences and skills and I don't know, knowledge. Yeah.
And all the people you've met. I'm coming to that question of you. I'm coming to that question of you may have stepped on some people's toes, because I feel that is so with the both people in organization is I think it's a bit common to step on few toes at some point. But as you said, is the approach that matters. Come to the question. But I want to talk about when you joined InterSwitch. So I don't know, I understand what you mean that you are shy and then InterSwitch was a great learning experience and then you collaborated more. But I would like to say you came really prepared. You came, it feels like you had a strategy and ideas. You had clear goals and strategy. I feel like you had clear goals and strategy. That is from a mirror. I'm telling you what I think of when I met you. And before, when I saw you, and then you were like, actually, it's not been long she joined. I'm like, looks like she has very clear goals. And I think it's those things that set you on the space or set you on the ground for all the excellent work you did at InterSwitch. Have you always done that? Did you have clear goals joining the brand, or is that just part of you, or did you cultivate it? So when you were joining InterSwitch, you're like, these are the goals I have for InterSwitch. These are the things I want to achieve at InterSwitch. This is what I want to do for myself while I'm at InterSwitch. Was there like a session like that in your head, or did you just resume work?
Yeah, so I would say that I'm the kind of person who, and I don't say this from a place of, I don't know, arrogance or anything, but I don't like doing things that are mediocre. Like even down to the way I walk. I don't want to just be sluggishly just traipsing down the road. Like when I see people that do, I'm like, please, what's going on? Unless you're sick. Like I'm one of those people that are walking fast, I'm walking with intention. I know where I'm like, even if I'm taking a walk, like I'm not going to just, there's some people that they will just be walking, blocking all the whole road. Like, please, can you move with your like, so that is I'm not gonna say pisses me off. That thing pisses me off or gets on my nerves, but anyway, I don't know, I think I'm just I used to be called what's that word of when we're in school? ITK. I too know. I used to be called ITK. I used to be those people. You know how the teacher will forget to like give the assignment or something. I used to be that. Say, please, Mr. Can you come? I think, I don't know. I think it's partly part of me. And to be honest, I've tried to tone down a lot of those things. It's partly part of me. I think another thing is I'm always very eager to learn. And like, I feel like I don't know anything. I feel like there is, even the belief I have today, if I gain certain knowledge, it may change. Like, I'm always eager to learn. Ignorance, I think, I can't remember where exactly I heard this, but I think it's a thing in law. But ignorance is not an excuse for, like, not obeying a law, basically. Like, you can't say, oh, I didn't know that. Yes, you can't say you didn't know about it. Sorry, maybe you came to Dubai, you're kissing on the road. They now come and arrest you. You now say, oh, I didn't know. They'll say, that's your business. The law is that you should not be kissing in public. So I try to be as far away from ignorance as possible, because when the worst part about ignorance is you feel you're right. You will not be saying what is so clearly wrong to people that know.
And you'll be sounding stupid.
My dear, it can be very embarrassing. So yeah, I think it's partly part of me. I've partly just always been that person who is extra. Like, I know there are pros and cons. I'll say for me, there are more pros, even though a lot of the time when I'm doing a lot of reflection, I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, this person must think I'm this kind of person, but that wasn't my intention, you know. But then also, it's partly also me always being open to learn, always being, how would I say this? Always being open-minded, always trying to dig deeper, you know, below the surface. Yeah, I say it's partly nature, partly nurture. Yeah.
I think self-awareness is very important. So when you get to know yourself, understand the strengths that come with your personality, understand some of the weaknesses or some of the downside, you'll be a lot more at peace within yourself, and you'll be a lot more confident.
Honestly, I totally agree. But I would say as well that for some people, it's better that they are not self-aware, because if they really see themselves the way other people see themselves, they will jump into a river. Because sometimes when I'm reflecting on things, I'll be like, but why didn't you just keep quiet? But why? So, I mean, yes, self-awareness is very integral for growth. Like, I don't think you can grow if you're not self-aware. I think being self-aware doesn't mean that you necessarily accept every aspect of yourself. It just means that you're aware, and then you're not able to you have to now be intentional to say, I want to change this. And then you'll actually create a plan and say, a path, and say, you know, this is what I'll be doing to change this. Maybe if you realize that you have body odor, I don't know why I keep saying body odor today. If you realize that you naturally have body odor, you have to say, okay, I'm going to be taking my bath 3 times a day. I'm going to be using 2 different deodorants. Yeah.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for answering that. So you know the sentence that people make of drop your personality at home when you are working at a corporate space? For me, I would love to say, which is what we just mentioned, I would love to say, bring my personality to work, having identified my strengths and my weakness, having identified what triggers my downsides. I would say bring my personality to work, because if I am coming to work with, let's say I'm a perfectionist, and then I'm coming to work and I'm trying to tone that down, I feel like you can only, it's fake life. It might not be the real fake life that we all know in the fake life. It will take at least 2 months. Your real self will start showing. So what do you say to people that have like a very bold aura around themselves, or they have a very strong personality, and then they don't think that is welcomed in a workspace? What can you say about that?
So I can totally relate with thinking that you have a strong personality. In fact, sometimes I know I can be overbearing, so I typically try to like tell people that I work with that I know I can be. So it's better you just point it out when I do, so that I will tone down, right? So I would say that if you don't have a personality in the workspace, and I've encountered a few people, like if you don't have a personality, then like people want to work with you. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost better to have a bad personality than to have no personality. Right? Like it's just like anyway. But I'll say that knowing the pros and cons of your personality, yes, I think it's essential to bring the positives of your personality. So I think now, actually thinking about it, that's probably why, during interviews they may ask, what are like your strengths and weaknesses. So I know some people, they answer that question in a very funny way, where they'll say, "Oh, my strength is that I'm always early to work. If I knock your head, which really it's kind of so I just think that the part of your personality, for instance, if you're like a type A personality, you're a go-getter, you tend to like be focused on like what you're trying to achieve. You don't necessarily always know when you hurt somebody's feelings by something you said. Try and figure out like the pros of your personality. So being a go-getter probably means that any work that you take on, you are going to complete it, right? Meaning that if you're in a team, at least it's for sure that task is going to get completed. But then also knowing that sometimes people may misinterpret you trying to complete a task by saying that you want to take the shine, right? You now need to realize that I need to tone it down. I need to be more open to like other people's perspectives. I need to be more intentional about saying, person B, what's your suggestion? Or person A, exactly. Or person C, I want you to work on this specifically so that person takes ownership of that thing, right? So I think it's just about identifying the pros that would, help you be successful at work, help your organization, of course, to make money and be productive and things like that, and then toning down the negatives. The thing is, for a lot of type A personalities who tend to be like overachievers, like a Steve Jobs. If you listen to a Steve Jobs interview, I'm very sure that he wasn't the most caring line manager. If you really, really look at the things he said, because as far as it's concerned, he wants to get this done and it needs to be done. So imagine an atom telling that, my son is sick. I'm sure it's probably like, this your son is always sick every day.
The laptop is dead. Why are you living in the ends of the world?
Do you get? So, but then I'm sure he would have probably come at a point to realize that, I need to improve my empathy. Do you get? Yes, I know productivity is important, but I need to improve my empathy for like the people I'm working with. I know these people are not robots, they are human beings, right? So, identify long story short, identify your strengths. It's better to have bad character than no character. I'm sorry, I'll stand on this table.
Bring it to work.
It's better to have bad character, please. It's better than no character at all. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like, even with this thing with Nigerians and their emotion, not just Nigerians actually. So you bring it to work. It might be bad for a certain kind of, so people experience it in different light, I think.
Exactly.
And then this person is like, she's hard to work with. She doesn't take feedback. And somebody else experience, the person is like, Bless is very down to earth. So she always.
Thank you.
So they are different, and I need us to understand that energy is about people and their perspective, and it's okay for different people to have their different perspectives. So if someone says you work at a space and then when you during feedback or something, or basically you got the feedback that she's always on the spotlight, she's always having all the shine, she's always too loud. I think when she's having meetings, intentionally on her mic to the highest. Don't let it get to you. On it. On it on. They want to hear your meeting. That is very much okay. If you don't like to use headset, and because of those comments, you decided to start using headset, or you decided, I will not be having meetings at work. Either I have meeting, I'll stay at home. What it was said, I stand with her. Bring that personality to work. Identify it. Be open to work on it. You get? Be open to work on it. The important thing over time is about what you feel about yourself, because end of the day, everything will be gone and you will just have you. So you need to get to learn about you, need to be intentional about improving on you. And while you are doing that improving, if people don't see the change, it's okay. Change takes time. It takes a whole lot of work. And the important thing is that you are putting in the work. So yeah.
I agree, because can I give an example? Even Jesus Christ, the Son of God, some people hated him. Some people said he was arrogant. Meanwhile, other people that experienced him said, this is a great man, he is humble. The same person they're calling humble is the same person that are calling arrogant too.
I'm proud. I mean, he ate with us, he washed our feet. Other people he ate at Zacchaeus' house. Other people are saying, why is he
Other people say, it's eye service.
Yeah.
Do you get?
Why?
So I feel like you said, people experience you in different ways that is also shaped by their own experiences. Imagine if, fortunately or unfortunately, the way you talk is the way somebody's abusive mother used to talk. I'm not saying you are abusive, but maybe you just have the same, I don't know, maybe you have the same accent or something. Now, because of that, everything you say, do you get? So, my dear, do you? If you know you have bad characters, work on it. Identify them. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. If you don't accept it, you will continue to have that bad character.
And you continue to feel bad every time you show in public.
Exactly. So accept it, but create a plan to work on it. That's it.
That is so cool. Okay, so this is like a random question. Our content designers and US writers, do you think there's a difference?
Hey, God. This is a hard question. So I'll be very honest and say that I don't know if there is a difference. But of course, probably a content designer or UX writer can tell us if there's a difference. The difference, if I'm thinking about it, might be in the purpose of what they're trying to achieve. But honestly, I can't say for sure if there's a difference. I'll be very honest. But I know for sure copywriting and UX writing are different. Copywriting has a different goal from UX writing. UX writing, you're trying to make sure that the customer is able to achieve what they're trying to achieve for every page or interaction with the product. Copywriting, you are most likely telling a story, just trying to engage them. So a copywriter might write 5 lines with dreamy language, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, a UX writer knows that on this page, we want to convert you. We want you to buy this product. So what they will say might be totally different. They are going to look at your reason for opening that page, the kind of person you are, and say, okay, you are trying to achieve this goal as this maybe you went on Figma's landing page. Most likely, if you're on Figma's landing page, you are a designer. They don't need to start telling you how Figma. Thank you. They don't start telling you why Figma was created and one thing. They'll tell you this is what you can achieve with Figma. So, meanwhile, a copywriter might start telling you Figma has been the most fantabulous design tool since Kiniko, you know.
Let me use sweet. I love how you approach this question. So I was in a discussion a few days ago, and then this question just someone asked it, and there was a lot of back and forth, and it was designers mainly, so we didn't know much about it, and we ended the conversation with US content designers are the same as US writers. Although, okay, now this is the problem. One of us now said, so do you think hiring a content designer or US writer? And everybody said content designer. Like,
they're the same.
You just said they are the same. Why are you saying content designer?
Yeah. Very funny. But that's like asking designers whether content designing and UX writing are the same. It's like asking an Oyinbo person to tell you the difference between Ghanaians and Nigerians. Like, if you want to know the difference between, do you get? If you want to know the difference between Ghanaians and Nigerians, go and ask them.
I don't know. Okay. So let me just ask this. evidence. Okay, so your work leaves very amazing success. There is track record of success based on your work. Evidence. There is no too much explaining. When Burna Boy said you go explain it for your
Thank God.
but, but I need you to speak on something. With what you do, you get it's safe to categorize you under a single lady living in Lagos and chasing her dream. But you're actively married and actively a mother. I know I'm putting actively in front. I know it's might not have been easy managing all of this, but how do you do it? Manage all of this and still be very productive at work? Is there anything you can say? I know it is not easy. But
oh my Lord. So I think how do I say this? I definitely say that it's not easy. I definitely don't think I have how do I say this? Achieved, or I have successfully done what I would do, or how do I say this? I don't think I am 100% in either thing, like being a mother and like wife, or being a part of like where I work, right? Wherever the place might be. I feel that I feel that it's just sacrifice. What has helped me is identifying what's important at every time. There's this like 2x2 matrix that I know like project or product managers use when trying to like identify what takes priority. So, and I would say that this is something that has been helpful, valuable to me, like as a human being that, has to balance work and life. So the 2x2 matrix, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where it looks at if something is important or important and urgent. Yeah. So you need to weigh whether if something is important and urgent, you need to do it. If something is important but it's not urgent, you can do it at a later date. If something is urgent but not important, you can delegate it. Like, so for instance, in my own life as a mother and wife, right? If my children need to eat, right? It's important that they eat, but they don't need to do it. They don't need to eat right now. I will do that later while I focus on the work I need to do right now that is not urgent and important. But maybe my children want to eat something that I know somebody else can make for them. So meaning that it's not important that I make it, but they need to eat right now. I will allow somebody else to do it, like my household, to make. If it's Indomie now, she can make Indomie. They can make Indomie for them, right? But if it's something I know that I have to do, meaning that it's important, but it's not urgent, I can put it off to a later date. So that could be, okay, maybe they're having Christmas Day celebration in school. They told them to come with Santa Claus head or something. Okay, I know I need to go to the market to go and buy it, but I'm not going to go and do it today. I'll focus on the thing that is important today. So it's just a balancing act. I can't lie. For me, one thing that helps is I write down everything. I can be very, very, I don't know if I'm forgetful or I need to improve my memory or something.
No, a lot going on. Is actually don't put that pressure on yourself.
My dear, I have to do this everywhere. If I open my WhatsApp, you know how you can message yourself on WhatsApp? I'm always dropping one or two things there that I need to do. I have notes. Like if I open my notes, I have like 300 or 500 notes in my iPhone notes app. I take notes of everything. If I'm going to the market, I have a market list. I don't even go to the market anymore because the stress of going to the market. So, for instance, those are some trade-offs you need to make. If I know that I'm going to go to the market to go and buy meat, and it's going to take the life out of me, right? Like, I know that I'll be so tired when I come back, all the pricing, blah, blah, blah. I'd rather use all those meat vendors that allow you to do, like, cow sharing or whatever. Yes, it might be 5,000 naira more expensive, but please, I'm saving myself stress, I'm saving myself time, and I'm able to do something else that's more important at that time. Let me sacrifice the 5K. Take the 5K, please. In fact, the meat will be cleaner, and I get what I want. I'm not stressed. I'm able to actually work on other things. I didn't sacrifice the whole day going to the market. So it's a balancing act. This makes me think of an interview for, was it Coke or Pepsi? Like the MD CEO of Pepsi or Coke. I can't remember, one of them. She's an Indian lady. And she talked about this. She talked about, they were asking her how does she balance her life. And she talked about how she was very true. She said she missed a lot of important things because in her children's lives, because she needed to do certain things that if she didn't do it, maybe that day that Coke or Pepsi will close down, right? So she probably missed a birthday or two. She said that, but what she made sure she did was whenever her child called, like wants to talk to her, that everybody in the organization knows. So I think there's like a company line. So as soon as the child calls the company line and she says, "Oh, hello, my name is Iwalola," they know her already. They just immediately redirect her call to her mom's line. So for me, I was like, okay, that shows that, at least for the child, she knows that anytime I call my mom, she's going to answer, whether I'm in a meeting or whatever the case might be. Just because I know that the mom knows that she can't be there in person, so at least she needs to sacrifice, right? But I think she also talked about how people around her knew that her family was important to her. And I would say that there's one thing that is very essential for someone like me. The people that you have around you, especially at work, especially like your line manager, right?
Yeah.
If your line manager does not understand or is not empathetic to the fact that you have a family that's also important to you, you're going to have a problem. And I would give like big props, mad props to my line manager at InterSwitch. He was amazing, totally. It's not like, not like he accepts any excuse or every excuse or anything like that. No, but he understands that, okay, your child is ill, you need to go to the hospital. So this thing that he wants you to do might not get done like right this minute, but you are going to work on it as fast as possible as soon as you get back. So, I don't know. I would say, long story short, need to put things in place that allow you to delegate tasks that are not important, but need to get done. You then need to prioritize working on the urgent and important things as at when due. Procrastination is your enemy. If you procrastinate, for me, every moment counts. Like, yes, I give myself time to also relax. So for me, relaxation is important too. So I prioritize it. For instance, I make sure that my kids go to bed by 8:30 because I know I want to have one at least. Do you get at least 1 hour of peace and quiet? Like, there's something about having children, you don't realize how noisy and I don't know, they always want your attention. But at least when they are asleep, I know you are in a safe place, you are sleeping. Now, my brain, I can do what I want. Or I can say that, okay, I'm tired of working. Let me go out and drink flying fish or, I don't know, Smirnoff Ice or something so that my brain can cool down. It's not easy at all. It's a lot of trade-offs, a lot of prioritization. It's not easy at all. And then I know there are certain things I miss. So for instance, my kids' teachers might, they give my kids homework every day. And I'm like, excuse me, these children, one is in primary one is in nursery. You are giving them which homework? Anyway, I don't. And this homework is not just write A, B, and C. They plenty 3 different pieces of homework every day. Me, I do 3 days homework. I do homework Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You should not kill me, please. And I've told the teachers, Tuesday and Thursday we will return the homework for you.
We'll continue next week.
My dear, how was that day?
But first structure, understand that it's nice to want to call yourself Superman mother, super mother. But you can be that super mother when you show up at the right places and at the right situations you're supposed to show up at. Put in structure to be present in their life, in the life of both your children and your husband. Understand that you don't have to do everything. If you can delegate out tasks and you can afford it, please do it.
As in, critical.
It shouldn't stop you from your career plans. If you have a cannonball, it will take a lot of sacrifice. I know we've had that. The first thing she said was sacrifice. It will take a lot of sacrifice, but it can be done. You are not. Don't try to do it yourself. I know away from the family dynamics. I know it's being spoken for founders or executives that have a whole lot that they're handling. You don't have to do everything. Why you want to do everything and be perfect at all of them? You have jobs, So delegate
Yeah.
out the stuff you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Not like you can't, but you don't have time for. In your mind, you're like, oh, when I can wash this clothes, I'm the best clothes washer, I'm the best laundry person. I can cook fire, my indomie, you can't taste anything. It's nice, sweet, but you have to do it and let it not affect your timelines. You have to do it and it will not affect your deliverables. Do it, but you can also delegate it. I like the understanding and the collaboration. And that is actually how you drive good success. Because when you understand people you work with, meet them where they are, you're able to collaborate and start busy stuff. So
I also want to add one more thing, please, to everything. So also prioritize time for yourself to do the things that make you happy. So for instance, for me, I need to have downtime in a day. So I think despite the fact that I can be outspoken and, like active at work and everything, I also, like, I need to decompress. So that's why I actually don't consider myself like an extrovert. My husband is an extrovert. My husband doesn't need any moment of decompression. He's ready. If his friend comes to the house at 1 a.m., he's ready to accommodate them. If you come to my house by 1 a.m., I won't talk to you. You can enter, but I'm not talking. I'm in a mode of decompression. Like, you will be talking to yourself. You will host yourself. So for me, it's decompression. Sometimes it's just going to do my hair. Like, okay, I take out this time to go and do my hair. I didn't carry my kids. I didn't, go with them. Sometimes for me, it's going out, not actually going anywhere, but just entering my car, driving around and listening to a podcast or listening to music. For those 15, 20 minutes, I come back and I'm like in a better mood. Sometimes it's also, sometimes it's before I sleep, I must watch 30 minutes of something that will make me happy. It could be stand-up comedy, could be Modern Family, something that will just make me forget all my troubles. Forget that even though, yes, I'm at home and my children are sleeping, but in that 30 minutes or 25 minutes I'm watching Modern Family, I don't remember that I have children or I have responsibilities or I have one deadline tomorrow.
I believe we're having mothers. We have mothers on this podcast. So I want to ask for your podcast, The Spotlight. So I love how it tells stories around US and research. It talks about product. I love that episode with Evan Sekano that talked about the journey from Creditas to VC, to Disha and then VC. I really love that podcast. So I want to say, Nigeria said that 2023 was the podcast year. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry was owning a podcast.
Idea.
How did that make you feel, knowing why you started the Spotlight and you knew it wasn't just any podcasts? How did that make you feel? And what are some lessons you've learned building your podcasts?
Yeah. Okay, so for me, it's not like I was ever, I could not be the first person with a podcast. I could not be the first person with a podcast in Nigeria. I could not be the first female with a podcast. I could not be the first black female with a podcast. So, my dear, you have to, you must still be first. You must still be first. First is not always the best. It's not always the most profitable. It's not always the most successful. So, but also, if you're first, you don't have anybody to, learn from. So you have to be the one that will now experience everything. It's like if you're going on a road that has potholes. If you're the first car, now you go enter out the potholes. If you're the second car, you'll be able to see, let me know the potholes I can dodge, right? So I don't think you need to be the first. Yes, last year was probably the year of podcasts in Nigeria, but I think also around the world. I think there was also a time in the world when blogging was like, everybody had a blog. There was a time when fashion blogs, everybody had a fashion blog. I think now even TikTok, almost everybody has a TikTok. So it's everything. I feel like
I saw something on Instagram today about dancing. People are like, why is everyone dancing?
Yes, but it's an economy, like it's a creator economy. I think that's basically the key word. The past few years, the creator economy is booming. before, it used to be that everybody sits down in front of their TV and watches DSTV and watches football match. But now there are more sources of entertainment. If other people are doing it, that definitely means that there is something good there. It's like, for instance, you see everybody running, maybe there are two shops that are selling bread. You see everybody entering one and see that nobody is going to will be the first one. Do you get who will be more profitable? Is it not the part where where everybody is entering? So I didn't really feel any kind of way about it that everybody was starting a podcast. But I would say that the major reasons I started a podcast, one of them was I wanted to improve my public speaking. Like I said, growing up, I used to be very, 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 very shy. And I think even till now, I communicate better in writing. And I've always been that way since I was growing up. Like, for instance, if I had an issue at home with, like, my family, if I say it to you, we might fight. But if I write what I felt and everything down, you would understand better. So it's always been like that until now. I communicate better in writing. But I wanted to make sure that last year I told myself I want to improve the way I speak. Like, the things that are coming out of my mouth, can they be the same thing that was in my brain that I put down in writing? Yeah. I don't think I've gotten to the point I want to get to yet, but I think I'm on the way there. Then the second reason why I started the podcast was I wanted to be able to capture certain stories and bring that knowledge forth to other people. Yes, you can go on LinkedIn and hear many stories, 1,000,001 stories. Evans Akano, for instance, that I had on the podcast, can come and write about that story, blah, blah, right? But it's not really it's not documented as a space in time. So that was what I wanted the podcast to capture. I also to tell those stories. The third thing was I was really inspired by a lot of podcasts out there. One of them, I think everybody loves this podcast, is Lenny Rachitsky. That's Lenny's podcast. I was also really inspired by 234 Essential and Road to 30, Isaac and Dolly. Many more around in the product space. Insights Unlocked by user testing. I really love that. Yeah, so those are the three reasons why I started the podcast. I feel that I'm on the right path. So I think I'm improving my public speaking. I think I'm telling stories that people want to hear. I know I've been on a break for a while. I've been working on a lot of other things behind the scenes. The podcast has a website now, finally. Thank goodness.
Yay!
The spotlightpod.com. I don't know why somebody stole the Spotlight podcast. I think they were telling to be like £7,000 to get that domain name. So the podcast the website is called the spotlightpod.com. I'm also working on getting someone that can assist or that would be even the primary person for like socials, because I just don't have the bandwidth to like continue that. I used to like do all the social media, but my dear, it was very sporadic. So I really want to be more intentional about that this year. Also want to get, I want to kind of go in a different direction. I haven't finalized on that yet, so still working on that. But I'm really, really hoping that it will go live again in March. But we're working on it anyway. Thank you for letting me speak about the podcast. But I also have a second podcast, right?
Yes, with Chinelo.
With Chinelo, yeah. It's called Work Therapy. So work therapy, like you say, is where you come to. We help you navigate the 9-to-5 grind. So all those issues, maybe even your line manager has said something that's pissed you off, or you're just trying to survive, or traffic in Lagos wants to kill you, doesn't want to allow you to be great. All those issues that are in and around work-life, balance, that's what we talk about. And it's been a great run so far.
So, you're not the only one expressing it. I think I saw this episode about, it was something about emailing. I saw it on LinkedIn and I could really, really relate. Okay. I love the content on social media. I'm going to add a link to this work therapy and the spotlightpod.com. Ewa is I love your work. I love your
Thank
dedication.
you.
I love the energy you put into it. I mean, she has a website right now. That is so good.
The
Don't
website
worry.
is
Well,
not
I
the
look
best,
forward
so
to.
please don't go and use your designer eye now to go and look at the website.
Calm down. Calm down. Oh God, but this is really great. I have a whole lot of questions, but I have stretched beyond the limit. That people stretched beyond the time that you gave me. Although I know you're a very busy woman, getting you on this podcast, Seth, there was a lot of procrastination. I even had to pray about it at some point.
Are you serious?
But I have been fighting procrastination on maybe things that scare me, things I'm not very certain I'll be very good at. That is an
Okay.
aspect I'm working on this. But this is me
I think
saying
everybody
has a little of that, right?
Yeah.
But this has been a really, really amazing session. Like we've talked about product. Please, before we go, I just have let's use this platform to preach the gospel of user research.
Abio, thank you.
Organizations should hire more user researchers, not because user researchers need job, but not just because user researchers need job, but because your brand needs them. I've seen products where proper research and user testing were carried out. I've seen the difference from it. I've seen the difference on it from a project that did not have any form of research on it. So this is me. For the good of your own brand, for the good of your business.
Yeah.
Get researchers on board, even if you don't hire them on full time. I is a user researcher, and in my time at InterSwitch, I've had the opportunity to work with different user researchers, and I've seen the difference from when they are brought on board on our project and when they are not on board. Please, what would you like to say about that? I'm very intentional about it. Businesses hire user researchers. It's very.
So for this particular topic, I saw a video this morning. Fisayo Silaja, she's a user researcher that I worked with at InterSwitch. She does like content around user research. I will point people listening to a video that she did on her Instagram. Her handle is called Fiz.uxr. That's FIZ.uxr. She did a video where she compared the user journey for Uber, GoKada, and Quick Africa or something like that. All of them are logistics delivery platforms, right? Uber, seamless, like 2 or 3 steps, and you've gotten a rider. GoKada was a little bit more, asked for a bit more, but it was possible, it was okay. Quick Africa, what they call that, Quick Logistics, I can't remember. My goodness, they asked you to fill one long form. They won't ask for that kind of thing would have been. Thank you. Those kind of things, that kind of scenario would have been avoided if you have a UX researcher or a designer who also has experience in research. What would have happened is when that form was designed, you would have tested it out with customers and saw that maybe out of, let's say you just test with 10 people, out of 10 people, maybe 6 or 7 will get frustrated filling out the form. They will ask you, why do you need this information? Oh, when I use GoKada, they didn't ask for all this information. I beg, I'm not doing. Maybe the other 2 or 3 might say things like, why are you saying this word instead of this other word? Or it might be better if you put this one before this one. So you get to learn a lot of insights that would help you translate your business requirements, because every single business doesn't have the same requirements. Uber might be that seamless because of certain APIs or information or structures or like processes they already have in place. You as a starter in the industry, you might not have all the resources that Uber has. So you might need to ask maybe more questions or create a path that is totally different from Uber's own. But a user researcher will help you optimize that. They'll give you insights that will help you optimize that so that when your customers are using your product, they are not frustrated, right? And maybe even if they are frustrated, maybe what the product will help them achieve, they don't mind going through that frustration so that you are giving them something very valuable that they can't get anywhere else, right? So that's the purpose of a user researcher. If you're serious about taking your products from okay, yeah, you should have a product out there
Right.
I actually have a product that solves problems and that is making money for my business, and that people will always come back and want to use. In fact, amigo, they say, please, we're having downtime, right? So yeah, if you want to get to that point, then you definitely need a researcher on your team.
Thank you for that. Please, for your business goals are very valid. Your ideas for your brand is very valid. I get it that you have the whole picture in your head, but get a US researcher on board, or get a designer that has that has research background on board, because that will take the entire experience. That will take it from just an interface to an experience, an amazing experience that users would want to come back to. I love how she references Fisayo's video. I saw it this morning. I'll add the link to it to this chat. This session, it was like, I had so much fun on this podcast. I learned so much. I learned a whole lot, and I really, really appreciate you coming on this podcast. It means a whole lot to me. Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to have been here. Thank you for having me, Bless, and I'm so excited to see where In Between Spaces goes. Like, I love the name so much. It's beautiful. I love it. And for anybody that doesn't know, you guys have not met Blessed like in real life. She has such a warm and beautiful personality. Like, from the first time I met her, like, I'm like, she has such a warm and beautiful personality, honestly. Like, I really love that.
Thank you, Iwa. Thank you so much.